by 5 minutes. We are joined with let's do that again. We are joined by Brigitte Benge from Cream Solutions, she's the CEO of a business, she's the head coach, she's the everything when it comes to Cream Solutions. Brigitte Benge, welcome to the ABIC community.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It is so nice to have you here. We were just saying that you and I, Brigitte, go back some 30 years. You've been in the industry for some 30 years. Do you know that means that I would have done 10 years of my career without you in it?
Really?
Next year for me is 40 years in this industry. Wow. I know, but 30 years for you in the beauty industry, and it's been about 15 years that you've been the head coach of Cream Solutions. And I am so excited about this live because, let's be honest, there's some interesting times out there, not just in the industry, but around Australia. And I said it before that, Deloitte's economists say that Australia is not in a recession, but some Australians are. And that's very evident. There are different demographics where things are more challenging for some than they are for others. But one of the things that I find, Brigitte, is that when the going gets tough, we forget the critical pillars, the critical learnings, the basic things that we're meant to do. So today you're going to share with us 4 different strategies that get us through the difficult times. Can I ask you, what are you hearing your clients say to you about what's happening in the industry right now?
Look, I think the biggest complaint is that it's quiet. Like the book's quiet, right? There's lots of other complaints, like there's no therapists, no therapists are responding to ads and whatever. But of course, the one that's not helping with profitability is that the books are quiet. And that's all, that's everywhere, absolutely everywhere right now. But, one of the things I say is that we're not officially in a recession, but a lot of people are acting like we are.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's really important for salon owners to understand, and skin clinic owners to understand that, whenever a therapist says, they don't have the money, they say they don't have the money, that is not the reason. It's really, honestly, it's not the reason. We do have the money. All of us do have the money. We're just a little bit more careful of how we're spending it.
Where we're spending it, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And so for our clients, or the clients of the industry, they need to feel really good about the purchase. They need to know that the purchase is a good one. It's a great investment, and they're going to get what they're promised to get and what they want to get, which of course is results.
And right? Brigitte, when times get tough, and customers do need to identify where they're going to spend, and they're choosing experiences to spend on, because people are still going on holidays, people are still going to top-notch restaurants, people are still getting their hair done, they're still going into clinics, but they are looking for the quality, they are looking for the experience, where if they're going to spend their money, they want to make sure that they're going to get a beautiful experience and results for that money. Would that be right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think in our industry, and I think specifically when we're looking at salons that are very skin focused, skin clinics, med spas, and even just beauty salons who are skin focused, any client who rings up for the ABC anti-aging facial is looking for a solution to something.
Yes.
Right? They wouldn't call for that facial. They might ring for a massage. If they're truly looking for a relaxation experience, they'll call for a massage or they'll call for a fluffy facial. But when somebody says, I want the ABC pigmentation facial, they're looking for somebody to help them with pigmentation.
Yes.
Right? And so that's when, if somebody presents with a problem, they're admitting it to you, then you have to address that problem. And you have to ignore the possibility of them saying things like, it's too expensive. Right? We should always validate clients when they say, when they say something like it's too expensive, and we'll say, look, it's a lot of money. I get it. Right? So you validate them, but you never say that it's too expensive, because too expensive means the value isn't there.
The value isn't there.
Yeah, the benefit is not greater than the cost. Right? So what we need to show is that what we do, the benefit is greater than the cost, not the other way around.
I love that. So true.
And when we do that, the sale actually goes over the counter.
Yes.
Right? That's what they're waiting for. If they've been to another salon, the last salon failed to do that. So they're trying you. And if you don't show that the benefit is greater than the cost, you'll lose them too, and they'll go to another salon. Right?
That's so important. The new customer that's calling, the new customer that is coming through is actually someone else's old customer. So
Absolutely.
they haven't had the results that they're looking for, so they're still searching. And then the other demographic or the other audience that we need to acknowledge here, Brigitte, also is the customer that is already coming in, that doesn't get looked after the same way as that new customer coming in, because there's complacency and like, you know, we've known Maria for such a long time, so we don't have to ask her what concern she has with the skin, because we know. But do you really know? Because I haven't seen you for a month, and in a month, gosh, skin changes. And depending on the age of your customer, hormonal activity, there's so many things, stress levels that change the skin.
Yeah, and time.
And time.
Right? Our skin is changing on a daily basis. So time in itself is changing our skins. So yes, someone else's old client is your new client is somebody else's old client. And if a therapist isn't careful, it's going to become her old client or her lapsed client.
Yeah.
So the name of the game, if we really want to put this all under one umbrella, the name of the game is retention, client retention. Downtime equals lack of client retention. And where you make the money, where we make the money in our industry is in the client that stays with us, right? For a year, 2 years, 3 years or more. I classify clients into 3 levels. There's the basic client who basically has the core 4 products. That client who is retained, and when I say basic 4, I'm just talking about, you know, a cleanser, a moisturizer, exfoliator, and an SPF.
SPF, yeah.
No serums, really, really basic. If that client is retained, she spends around $5,000 a year.
Yeah.
I worked out with O Cosmetics, $5,000 a year if she's very basic. And if a client is going to be very basic, well, let's retain her. So she'll probably come in every second month, right? Not every month. And she won't, you know, partake in any courses. But what we're going to do is make sure that she buys her products as soon as it runs out, those 4 products. And
yes,
this basic client is worth $5,000 a year.
Yep.
All is done in the right time. Then you've got a savvy client, and that client has 1 serum, right? Has a few more products and maybe an eye cream. They will spend probably around $7,000. And then you have the advanced client who will come in and have courses and will come in and will buy all the right retail, and you're looking at anything between $8,000 and $10,000 a year. You just have to do the math, right? If you do the math, you know, roughly our products run out every 3 to 4 months. So if you do the math and make sure that the clients replenish their products timely, come in for the treatments timely, do a course when there's a major problem. Right? So a new client comes in for a major problem. Let's say she needs to be put on a course of treatments for, you know, 6 over 3 months, you know, every 2 weeks. And then she needs to be put onto maintenance, and she needs to go home, not in the first visit, but within the first couple of months with a regime of skincare, right? And then we've got to follow up that all of those products are replaced. We've got to follow up that she comes on time, like she comes in every 2 weeks. And if she doesn't, we're going to call her up and say, the results are cumulative. Like we need to have them in a timely way. And then we make sure she comes in for maintenance. Now, here's something I really want to tell everybody. When we convince a client, thank God, finally, that it takes time to look at, to address acne, right? It's not going to happen overnight. It took you 30 years to develop it. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to probably take 3 to 6 months. That's not much compared to how long it took.
30 years that it's taken to develop. Exactly.
Yeah. But more important than that, what they need to understand is that they have to maintain the result. So we'll get that result within the 3 to 6 months. But what's most important is to maintain it. Because if they don't, they're prone to acne. It will come back if they go home to rubbish skincare. Right?
So this is your message, Brigitte. Gosh, we're only like a few minutes in, but the screaming message that you've got out here is that home care is critical. That home care is part of a customized treatment plan, and we're not going to get results, long-term results, unless we're doing in-clinic and home care. And in some cases, if we can't do the in-clinic for whatever reason, the home care is the one that's going to give those results.
Absolutely. So here's what I say. I say home care and treatments, phenomenal results. Home care and no treatments, if the client can't afford it, really good results. Treatments only, you're wasting the client's money and you will lose them. If we only let clients come in for treatments only, the result can only last a few days if they go home to rubbish skincare, right? Or no skincare.
Or no skincare.
Or no skincare,
exactly.
Right? So,
yeah.
You know, when a client, if they really have an issue, we need to be brave enough to say, well, you know what, let's not do the treatment today. Let's put today's money into your first retail products. And then we make sure that they fill in the rest of the prescription of the retail.
And
right?
let's look at the return on that, Brigitte, as well. So we haven't done the $200 treatment today, but you've taken home a $200 or a $300 or $400 home care regime. Let's say it's a $400 regime. We still made the $200 if you're working on the right margins.
Yeah.
But we haven't done that hour treatment. We haven't had someone in a cubicle in a room doing that 1 hour treatment, but the return is actually better than having done the treatment.
Absolutely. And you have to be brave enough to lose that appointment that day, because what it means is that we're going to replenish 3-4 times a year.
Yes.
Right. So it's a matter of being brave. Like when people say, Brigitte, what do you mean we refuse them? Because you have to look at the long term.
Yeah.
Right. It's the long term, the life of the client with you, and she will get results. When you put in just one serum into this basic, core 4 products, now we're talking really good results.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And results is what keeps people loyal.
So having a brand, and we're not talking about brands because we were in our ABIC hats here today, having a brand that gives you results, that you're able to work the customer through a journey that they're seeing changes in their skin and they're able to hold these changes, the brand is critical to the end result. And I just think there's so many clinics that don't really stop and look at the retail that they're offering. And you've got to have all sorts of different levels of actives, and you have to have different price points, so you've got something for everybody, but really making sure that what I call a buffet of active ingredients is available so that you've got something for everyone that will make a difference to the skin.
Absolutely. You have to have results-driven skincare ranges. If you want to be if you want retention and you want to be a results-driven business, you must have highly active skincare products that actually change the skin, right? Everything that they're coming from using, supermarket, pharmacy brands, the cheaper.
Mecca, Sephora, Adore.
Absolutely. They're not active. And so they won't work. And unfortunately, we pay the price of the advertising, what Mecca says, because they say, buy this, we don't get a result. So they come to us, they're very skeptical, right? So we've got to hear them and then say, trust me, you've found the last person. Believe me, I'm your solution.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Let me promise you that, because the first thing for sale is trust. Right? The first thing any therapist has to sell to a client is her trust. And I've always said, I don't care if a client doesn't buy a single product in that first visit. If she walks away and says, wow, that therapist was so knowledgeable. She showed me everything. Like she was, she knew everything that was wrong with my skin.
Yeah.
You're successful.
Yeah. And it's food for thought, right? Because you start thinking, she was right. I have tried a lot of things and they haven't worked, but there's a whole new category of skincare that's available now in a professional environment. She did say she could take me through this journey, So they give her food for thought. I remember when I used to work with De Lorenzo Hair Cosmetics, and we do this. I've always done this as a therapist too, but it was one of my really big learnings. We would do this prescription for hair, and you'd tick the prescription and you'd say to your customer at the end of the prescription, so what would you like to take with you today? And people always took a shampoo and a conditioner, but it's not the shampoo and conditioner that makes a difference in a hair situation, right? So, but until you get your keratin, until you get your oil, until you get your moisturizer, you're not going to see those results. So definitely start with your shampoo and conditioner, and then just remember that we've got to get to these 5 products before we get this ultimate response. And then they take their prescription and they'd wrap it all up, and then they'd come back and go, oh, I didn't know you had a treatment today. Go, oh, no. Like, I just need to get these other 3 products because the shampoo and conditioner are already making a difference. What will the rest do? And skin is like that too. Skin, like,
even more so.
Even more so. A cleanser will change your skin. A good cleanser will change your skin. And you're, oh my God, if the cleanser's done this, what's the rest going to do?
And you know what? Here's what's interesting about the cleanser, because the cleanser is a put-on, take-off product. It's not even a treatment product.
It's not even a leave-on, exactly.
But when you're washing your face with rubbish at home, you are creating damage, right? So we're stripping the skin, you're clogging up the skin, you're creating damage. So when even the basic cleanser is used, it's not only is it not doing any of that damage, it's actually create, especially if it's a hydrating cleanser, there is some result that's going to happen there, right? So,
and as a therapist myself, I've been in many a situation where they don't talk to me about a cleanse. I'm not interested. I go, okay, then we just can't talk. And they go, what? I go, well, if we can't talk about the cleanser, we can't talk about anything else. Like, no, like you wouldn't start painting on a canvas if the canvas was dirty. You would say, oh no, my canvas is flawed. I'm not going to paint on this. I go, well, you can't start to treat skin if the skin is not prepped. So it's the number one. It really is an effective cleanser is the number one.
Absolutely. And another thing that I wanted to just add before, when you said, when the client walks away, you want to make sure that part of the conversation was the therapist said everything, and she showed me what a client with my problem looks like after they went through the journey she recommended, which is, i.e., the case study, right? Like
Before
people
and after.
still aren't doing case studies. And, often we also ask clients, in the intake form, are we okay to use, your images as case studies? Don't ask that in the intake form, right? Because they'll always say no. When they don't even know what's going to happen in the future, they're always going to say no. Make sure, the biggest advice I can give somebody is every single appointment has photos taken, no matter what, left, right, front, no matter what. And then you upload it to your point of sale. When a great result is there and you present it to the client, now can we use it as a case study? And she sees the phenomenal result. She's going to be really chuffed and go, yeah.
Of course you can.
Right? Because I don't care what I used to look like. I care what I look like now.
It's such a good point. Exactly. Because in the beginning, they're so embarrassed and they become so proud. And so it's a much better time to ask the question. That's so right.
So they don't have the confidence that they will get what they want because of everything that's happened to them prior. Right?
Exactly.
And since prior, they haven't received the results. So the last thing they want is for you to show their face full of acne or, lines, wrinkles, and whatever. So the first thing to do is take that off your intake form. Only ask when you have a case study, right? That's the only time you ask. And then you start to build a library of brilliant case studies. So when that first client comes in, you'll say something like, here, let me show you Julie, the same problem as you. She was pretty much put onto the same prescription as you. You don't show them the book of, case studies. You show them what's relevant to them.
Their concern.
Right? And then they'll go, oh my God, I want that too. That's me. That's what I want to look like because that's what I look like right now. Right? So you create these tools for yourself, these really relevant tools for yourself to help you in that first appointment.
What do they say? Pictures speak 1,000 words, right?
Has there ever been a weight loss company who has advertised without a fatty and a skinny? Not a single one, right? Because that's what people want to aspire to look like that. And that is what sells. The skinny version of, Mary the fat girl, the skinny version, sorry, I can say this, I'm fat, so I'm okay with that. The skinny version is what people aspire to, right?
That's what they're buying into, right? They're buying into that skinny version. They're buying into that flawless skin. They're buying into that 10 years younger skin. But show me that you can do this because I've spoken to so many people. I've spent so much money and it hasn't worked up until now.
Yeah. And show me you've done it,
Show me you've done it. You've done it. Exactly. And that's, you know, I know this doesn't apply to me anymore, but I remember in my early days as a therapist that, you know, they'd say, oh, well, what do you know about anti-aging? What do you know about wrinkling? Like, you know, you're 25 years old or you're 30 years old. And I would always say, well, I have a mum and I have a grandmother and I've got aunts and uncles and they've all been through this journey. And so if you can show those photos, this is their journey, this is the results they've had. And yes, I might be young, but I have been the one that's been able to give them these results. So it's really critical that it's just going back to earning the right, isn't it? Like if you're going to stand in front of people and talk, what gives you the right to stand in front of them? If I'm going to stand before you and tell you I'm going to give you this result, what gives me the right to actually put my hands on you? They're things that we forget. We forget that we have this power, but we just need to be able to show and prove we've used this power and we've transformed skins. But best of all, as a therapist, what I love the most, we've transformed lives.
Absolutely.
Through skin confidence, we transform lives.
Yeah.
And we can't do this unless we have a treatment plan that includes the retail. And we go back to that, Brigitte, because there are so many therapists out there that go, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to be a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. I don't like pushing product on people. I don't like to, you know, to be making people buy product. It's not about that.
When somebody says to me, I didn't sign up to be a salesperson, I said, absolutely. We're not selling cars or dresses. You signed up to provide results.
Yeah.
And there's no way of doing it without people buying, right? So, you know, wording is really important. So that client that says, what would you know about anti-aging? The answer is a lot, actually. Let me show you.
Yeah.
And you go to, so it's finding the right word to say a lot. I know a lot because this is what I've done with my clients, right? And so that discomfort has gone. That complete intimidation and discomfort has gone. Right. And so, you know, when the therapist says to me, I didn't sign up for selling, I said, but that's not what we're doing. We're providing results. We're clearing acne. We're depigmenting, making people look younger than they actually are.
And feel confident and able to take on life, you know, that whole bad hair day thing. Like, you know, it's true. If you wake up with your hair looking like shit and you just can't get it right, you got a pimple on your nose, or it's not feeling right, you don't walk into the day as confident as you do when you're looking good. There is something to be said for that look good, feel good. And that's what we get to do, right? We get to do that.
It's so lucky, you know, and I think, and I want to prove something to you, just quickly to everybody else. I haven't actually had any treatments in the last 12 months, right? A lot of people know that I'm a bit sick. There's something that I have. I've got cancer, actually, so it's fine. But my home care, I am so diligent in my home care. And I'm so happy to finally be able to prove to people, because I'm going to turn 63 this year. And I have better skin than so many young people, right? And it's believe me, it's not my family, because we come from very bad skin, right? Like, you know, naturally my family has really very bad skin, but I've been a skincare, let's call it junkie, honestly, since I was 9. You know, my mother put me on, my mother comes from this industry. She put me on skincare as early as 9 years old. And so I love it that I can finally prove, because I love treatments, by the way, I love skin treatments, but I can finally prove that when you have no treatments, the maintenance is there. Right.
And Brigitte, in the situation that you're in now, I mean, you're very blessed because you've always been in the industry and you have people that take care of you, and, you know, and you use really beautiful products. But how many patients are there out there that their skin, when you're under treatment, it just goes to pieces, right? Oh. And if you don't have someone to guide you, that adds to the depression, right? It's harder to face the day going, I'm going to beat this, I'm going to beat this, when you don't feel that you look like you're strong enough to do that, right?
Absolutely. And when you do get, it's not so much the cancer that gives you the bad skin, it's the medication, right? So when I was put onto medication, my skin went to shit. Like immediately, my hair, my nails, I can't grow my nails anymore, because the minute they pop out, they're soft and they rip. right? I'm wearing a wig, right? I'm not,
Oh,
this is
I wouldn't have picked,
my
you look great. You look
hair.
fantastic.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
but that's my only option, right? Because there's
Yes.
every promise out there of hair growing, it won't address the cancer drugs. So, oncology actually is a huge target market that people should be talking about, because you will behave the way you look, right? I look in the mirror, I look like crap, I behave like crap, I'm depressed. So you have to make yourself look as well as possible. And for me, skin makes me look well, right? Like, people don't know. And you know what? I'm very open about my cancer. I have stage 4 cancer. I don't even have stage 1. Like, I've got stage 4 cancer, right? So I've got a lot going on, but I will never let go of my skincare regime.
Look at you here. Look at you here sharing with the ABIC community. Like, with all that stuff going on, life's got to go on, right, Bridget?
Absolutely.
It's got to go on.
Absolutely.
And
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 it
it's
does.
it can sound superficial, like, like if I look good, I'm better prepared to face the day. It's actually fact.
It's a
It's
hundred
fact.
percent fact. That I can tell you from my heart. It is 100% fact. And the medications for all of the things that we're on, it fixes one problem but creates another,
Yeah.
right? And it's always going to be that ongoing battle. So
Yeah.
I'm doing really well on my treatment plan.
It's so wonderful to
It
hear.
affects everything in my body,
Yeah.
right? And I better get used to it, because I have to be on this treatment plan for the rest of my life, because it's stage 4, right? I've got
Yeah.
cancer cells in my body. Anyway, let's stop talking about cancer. Okay, so
only to say, to be aware that if a client has been coming to you and then says, hey, I'm not going to be able to come anymore because I've been diagnosed with cancer, that's when you really want to say, hey, I really want you to come in. I'm going to give you a complimentary consultation because I really want to make sure that this part of your life continues to progress and not regress.
absolutely. And you can still have active ingredients,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
they're not contraindicative. Anything that's contraindicative to cancer, the manufacturer will tell you.
Yes.
Right? They will tell you. Like, so I'm on vitamin A, I'm on vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. I'm
I
on,
could never see you dropping your vitamin A.
no way. So I'm on,
No way.
and I'm still looking after my skin. And what I see in the mirror is what makes me strong. Like, I am strong with all of this. And, when you sadly think that 1 in 8 women have breast cancer, think about your existing clients and think about the clients you can attract simply through your blogs. Even just blog about it, live stream on your Facebook, that we do look after oncology patients. It is a huge target market. And, honestly, the numbers are getting worse. They're now talking about it's going to be 1 in 6. So
Wow.
it's really bad. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
rampant, right?
There's a really good message there too. Like, we've specifically spoken about oncology patients, but there are lots of little niche audiences that clinics can reach out to, whether it's a teen market or it's a menopausal market. There's so many. So just find your passion, make it your niche, and really get out there and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the passion should always be, I want to help people look younger for longer sooner, right?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. And so if they've got cancer, if they've got diabetes, if they've got any illness, or if they've got nothing, we all want to look younger. And you're
You know
right.
what, Bridget? I think everyone's got something. Like,
Yeah,
it's just a
absolutely.
world that it just seems to be that everyone. I was talking to someone the other day that owns a business and she's got 16 staff. She said to me, Maria, I have 16 staff and I have 8 of them that have issues. Like, they have got problems that they can't come to work every day. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh my God, that's 50%.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I think it's really important that everybody is aware that everyone's got something, and the power in these hands, and the power of self-care, because that retail then becomes the self-care, right? And so when somebody is taking care of themselves, they're always going to be stronger. They're always going to feel better. They're always going to, it's like a recharge, right? So at least a morning and an evening regime makes you, it's like, if you can sort of put those adjectives into the regime, it's like, when you wake up in the morning and you do your skincare, it's like, it charges you for the day and it gives you the energy to go, and you the confidence. And at night when you put in your skincare, it's what you need to sort of like, okay, and the day is done. I got through that day, and now it's time to recharge. It's time to sleep. It's time to rest. It's time to repair. And I think we just don't do that well enough anymore, because it's like the morning routine, it's an evening routine, but they have very specific functions.
Yeah,
What
talk
these two
about it.
routines are. Yes.
And then talk about, you know, my Wednesday nights. I rarely go out on Wednesday nights because that's my mask nights. And I don't
That's your mask nights.
I do 3 masks.
Oh my God, there's Wednesday mask night, there's Thursday tan nights.
Well, I do Wednesday 3 masks. You know, I start with an exfoliator or enzyme mask, and then I go hydrating, and then I go with something to like anti-aging.
Oh, awesome.
Back to back to back to back.
Yeah, commitment. That's commitment.
This is not, you know, this is by design. It's not by accident.
Yeah.
Right? And
That just got me going to that, like the social pages, Bridget's like, you know, so when we're trying to bring people into the business, we're either trying to bring them back into the business, or trying to recruit new people into the business. So when you're doing your socials, like start a viral thing like the 3, you know, everybody knows the Tan Thursday, right? Well, certainly everybody at InSkin knows the Tan Thursday. Now it can be the 3 mask Wednesday. Well, you need 3 masks to do that.
Yeah.
So you teach people what those 3 masks are, and maybe the finishing mask is a sleeping mask, but before the sleeping, there's an exfoliating mask. In the middle of that, there's a shit hot like booster mask, you know, and then we go to sleep, you know, and that's what you sleep. Tell me that Thursday morning before you tan on Thursday night, you don't wake up and you've got this amazing glow and plump and dewiness. So you've got to use your socials to create these demands without people even realizing that all of a sudden they need 3 masks.
Absolutely. And the thing is, if you don't believe it, you know, like everybody should be doing 3 masks, but if you don't believe it right now, all business owners, all therapists watching this, go home and do 3 masks. Look at what you look like on the next day and now try to sell 3 masks. It's going to be a completely different conversation because you're talking personally. Right. So that's the other thing that I'm really strong about. Therapists have to walk the talk. They have to.
Yes.
When they can't retail, it's because they don't have experience. Right.
They don't have a personal connection to the experience.
Yeah, and they have to have that. Like you have to believe in what you do, because when you do, the conversation is so natural. It's so excited. Like I can sell ice to the Eskimos when it comes to skincare. I can get anybody to buy because the whole conversation is about me and my experience. Ask me to sell a dress or a car or a gift, forget it. Like I'm the best salesperson in the world because I don't know about those things, right? I don't experience those things. I don't know how a car works. I could never be a car salesman. But for me, I always sell my experience.
Yeah.
And sell what people want to hear, right? And make sure you deliver it. Anyway, we need to go on.
We need to go on, absolutely. Have we covered 2 of the 4? Because we got titles for the 4?
No, but sort of. We've covered a lot.
Okay. Because I want to make sure that we've got 4 punchy headlines that people go back and go, right, I listened to Brigitte Benge this morning and Brigitte said 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to make them happen today. Absolutely. Because that's what ABIC is all about. Like, you know, these series of workshops that we're bringing live now, it's starting to do them at 12. We were doing them at 7. We're doing them at 12. They're recorded. People can listen to them when they want. But one of the criteria is that they're easily implemented. There's no huge financial or any financial investment, and that they can make a difference on the spot. Because when we went through COVID, Bridget, I think about this all the time. It was different. I think today is actually a little bit harder than COVID, because COVID, we had this captured audience. People were just on their screens, watching on their screens, and a lot of people had a cash flow that they've never seen before. So they were available, they had the cash flow, and they could just order online and they could do what they needed to do. It's different at the moment. So we have to think outside what we did for COVID because the circumstances are different. But we've got to go back to some pillars, some critical pillars, basics that are just not being done.
Absolutely.
That are just not being done.
And they're fundamentals, right?
Fundamentals.
I'm going to talk about stuff that nothing is new, but it's the foundation and the fundamentals of what it is that you do in your business. Yeah. So, we've touched on a lot, but here's what I want to explain. The real problem, as I said, the problem is downtime. Then the real problem is lack of client retention. And when we have, for example, a lot of downtime, the first thing we turn to is some really heavily discounted promotion. And that, I have to tell you, will only create very short-term cash, not profit, because you've discounted it by so much, but it's giving you cash flow, but no profit. And it's not addressing the real problem, which is client retention, right? So, you know, once in a blue moon, sure, you could do a promotion, but it can't be your go-to when this problem comes up.
I love you saying that, because at the end of the day, the discounting is a downward spiral.
Yeah,
It's the fastest to the bottom.
absolutely. You know, because, and here's why I hate people going on and on and on about discounted promotions. I'm okay with promotions, don't get me wrong. There's got to be strategy behind it, but it doesn't fix the underlying problem. You've got to ask, what's my underlying problem? Your problem is not downtime. Your problem is lack of retention, right? So we've got to address that. So now I want to share my screen with you, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Just a few slides here. Let's have a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the gold. This woman has been doing this for a long time, and you're only going to ask, well, they should do the same. They should ask your partners, your clients, the difference that you make in their business.
Well, I have to tell you just very quickly, my clients are producing up to $300 an hour. So we're talking about one therapist is producing anything between 8,000 to 10,000 a week, not the 2,000.
One therapist.
One therapist. One therapist. And just like, yeah, I mean, I get clients telling me all the time their productivity. So anyway, let me create this presentation view, present.
Loving this font.
Sorry?
Loving this font. So refreshing.
Oh, hang on a minute. I'm sharing the wrong link, the wrong, hang on, let me go back to stop share. I'm sharing the wrong screen. That's my screen. Where is it? Where's share? Sorry, guys, a bit of a techno problem here. Okay, so very quickly, downtime is as a result of lack of retention. What's that moving? Okay, to overcome lack of retention, we need to do results training. We have to train them, we have to hold them accountable, and then we need to address their blocks and their challenges. So I'm speaking to business owners here, right? We need to train them to produce results. We need to hold them accountable. And that's not, you know, Brigitte, you're not producing $180 an hour, bad girl. Not at all. Holding them accountable is making sure that they are doing what they were trained. You can't just send somebody to product school and expect that they know everything. They won't. Accountability is the number one issue that every business owner has to address. And then once they find out what the problem is, now let's address these blocks or challenges, right? So this is where you've got to go. Now, training, we have to master the skin consultation, right? Now, I'm really serious about that. Like the skin consultation, it's all very nice having all these, you know, fabulous machines, but if it's not done properly with the right wording, the right scripting, the right mindset, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to write comprehensive skin prescriptions. They've got to be able to then deliver the prescription and sell it through with integrity. No pushy, right? Like no pushy sales ticks. It's about, this is the result that you want. This is what it's going to take. It's going to take this much money, but of course you're not going to pay it all up front, and it's going to take this much time. Let's be really realistic, right? That things take time. Then we're going to pre-book for timely treatments. The most, you know, rebooking is not, you know, can I rebook you? It's not about that. It's to make sure that everybody is doing everything at the right time. So we pre-book a course, and the minute they finish that course, we then rebook them for monthly maintenance. And we make sure that nobody misses out on their monthly maintenance. So if the client hasn't booked, you call her and you remind her, and you give her all the reasons why she needs to come back every month, right? That's a script in itself. Then you've got to follow up the client that they're investing and using the right home care. Don't just sell it and hope for the best, because so often that client is going to go home and forget a lot of what you said, right? And if they end up not using the product or using the product wrong, the product's wrong, they're not going to get results. They don't get results, they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
And so when we do that, that's when the client starts getting results. And then results automatically looks after retention. And retention overcomes downtime. And the books are filled.
Magic. Not really.
That's
It's just fact, right?
It's a fact. And
yeah,
for my clients, I train them that on Monday morning, we need to be 85% booked, leaving only 15% for last minute bookings. That's what you've got to work for. You don't work to rebook to get that, tick that I rebooked. You rebook for results. And so you must expect 85% of your books, everybody, to be pre-booked 85%. And then we allow about 15% for last minute bookings.
Yeah.
Right? And so just quickly, this is what I call the client cycle, the client success cycle. We need the consultation. We need to write them a prescription. We do the treatments. We retail to them. We rebook. We write really comprehensive history notes. That is just so important, because if you don't write comprehensive history notes, every time a therapist meets the client a month later, she's forgotten what happened. And a lot of therapists say, no, I don't forget. Yes, you have, because since then you've seen 100 people.
That's right.
Right? And you're not supposed to remember. It's just too much. So that's another tool, right? History notes is a tool. And then following up the client. And then the most important of all is review the client, right? So a client needs to be reviewed a minimum of twice a year at the major changes in seasons. Hint, hint, right now. This is the major changes in seasons happening. Everybody needs to be brought back in for a skin consultation, no matter what, because things are going to change. But also they need to be reviewed if something happens, right? So like, if there's a sickness or they become pregnant or something happens to their skin.
Or they're just a woman and it just never works out.
Absolutely. So that's what you've got to do. It's always reviewing, always making sure everybody is on a full skincare prescription, right? So then that brings me back to one of the solutions that you've got right now. You've got a lot of downtime. If you're not a business that writes a prescription for every skin client, start recalling every client. Start calling people and saying, hey, we've got this new machine, or if you don't, just saying, we are going to recall all of our clients to have a thorough skin consultations. It's worth $75, but I would like to offer it you complimentary, right? To give you a complete review of your skin. You can attach if you like. I love to attach an offer like either a peel, anything that's really results driven, and an LED, so that they walk away with some sort of short-term result.
And so that $75 is redeemable if they book that treatment.
Yeah, it can be redeemed.
They could do that. Yeah.
Or, for me, I just want bums on seats, right?
Yep.
You just want to so that you have the opportunity to show your results if you've got them. If you don't, start creating your results now. Start creating. That's another thing. Start putting together your case studies for clients that you have achieved the results, right? So that is one of the things that you're going to fill in for your therapists. You will fill in their books by recalling clients to come in with your new love for skin consultations and writing great prescriptions and delivering the prescription. The next one I'm going to talk about is make sure that you've got not lots, but as many friends as possible who are willing to be mystery shoppers for you, right? So people that you know that your therapists haven't met. Yeah. You want to actually, every so often, and I'm talking, when I say so often, I'm saying at least 2-3 times a month to different therapists, right? You need to have a mystery shop, because we want to make sure that the therapists are doing everything according to protocol. All the language is right, everything is right. And so the night before, you see that there's 2 hours downtime tomorrow, call up all of those friends. The minute you can fill in those 2 spots, you book it yourself, and then you hand them a mystery shop test, right? So this is, I don't know how much you can see if it's
it's small writing, but we can see
so
it.
This is the mystery shop test form for the signature skin treatment, right? You give this to the person who's doing the mystery shop, and you give it to her before and just say, just look at it, so that you could sort of try and remember what to look out for. But believe me, once they have that treatment, if you ask them to fill that in, immediately after, the questions are, for example, did the receptionist offer a complimentary skin analysis and advice for the need to allow for extra time? That's if she books, actually. Were you immediately and courteously greeted to welcome on arrival by the receptionist? Pre-treatment, were the lights dimmed? If that's what you do, were the lights dim? Were the candles, lit? Were you advised where to place your personal belongings? Were you offered a jewelry pouch? Were you asked if you're claustrophobic? Then during the treatment, whilst cleansing, did your therapist confirm what will be addressed today and talked about what the treatment would entitled? Right? I'm happy to give this to you if you want it. But when somebody goes, and they either tick it or cross it, and if they want, they can do a quick comment on the side, and then they can write final notes, their feeling on the mystery shop. And then, of course, you're going to review it and write your own notes. And your own notes will tell you, right, Julie has a problem with this. How am I going to address it? How am I going to help her? How am I going to support her? Not how am I going to tell her off? How am I going to support her to make sure that she overcomes that? Right? So I can't tell you how valuable mystery shoppers are. And please you don't need to spend money for a mystery shopper if you've got the right tool. If you've created this tool, right, for every treatment that you want mystery shopped, right? So this is just a general signature treatment. You create this tool, you give it to the shopper, making their life really easy, because you've got to remember they don't know what to look for. So when you say, did she ask you blah, blah? Oh, yes, you did, tick, right? They'll remember it as long as they fill in the form like almost immediately afterwards. When I had my business, I would say to somebody, the minute you get in the car, it's just a tick thing, right? It's not going to take you that long. Please fill it in. So I can't, again, I've got a salon in Sydney who the therapists are making $280 to $300 an hour, and they get mystery shoppers all the time. And the owner is just constantly collecting people to send to them. They don't have to be your best friend. They could just be somebody, you met a little while ago and say, hey, listen, if I ring you at the last minute and you're available, do you want to be a mystery shopper? And of course, it's going to be complimentary. So invaluable, right? So that's what you could do during downtime. Okay, then the next thing that you need to do is you've got to make sure that you've got a training library. So again, I'm going to talk to you about when I had my own salon. I am not a therapist, by the way. Like, I've never touched a client in my life, but I know all about retail. I know what the therapist is supposed to do. And we would create training libraries, right? So I'll give you an example. When I would bring in, let's say, a trainer, like I would bring in a proper therapist trainer, but the training, this is what the training consisted of. You've got a model of the bed, you've got the trainer actually doing the training, okay, and you've got a camera only on the model's décolletage and face. And of course, they'll see the trainer's hands, right? And you're going to record your training. You're going to record everything. And of course, we'll hear what the trainer says. The minute that is over, like she's trained the therapist who's standing there with her protocol in hand, making sure she's following every single thing, you then stick her on the bed straight away, right? Whoever is being trained, the first thing they need to do is feel the treatment, the exact treatment. I can't tell you how many people tell me they've never had a skin needling, and yet they do them. Believe you me, if you've had a skin needling treatment, you have to tell it, right? You'll know how to sell it. So what we do is we put the therapist now is the model, and the treatment is done on her. And then immediately after that, we get a different model in, and the new therapist does it on her. And then now we have a recording that the therapist can turn to support her anytime she's got a problem. And of course, that training has to be according to the treatment protocol that you have, right? So you've got to start creating a training library. Exactly the same thing as products. Some, skincare companies have online training. So you need to say to a therapist, the minute there's downtime, these are the ordered things that I want you to do in order. The first one is recall clients. If you've already done that, I want you to go to the skincare range that you have. I want you to go to their online portal, and I want you to do module 1, 2, and 3. And on Friday, you and I are going to meet for 1 hour, and I'm going to quiz you.
Perfect.
Nothing happens without accountability. And you're going to prepare the quiz in advance. right? You're going to, you know, so that, because you're going to be doing this over and over again. So you don't want to invent the wheel every single time, right? You're going to have these quizzes done in advance. And if the therapist doesn't know, then you're going to say, right, how can I support her? What else does she need training on? How much more training? Stop. And that's another thing. When people send their therapist to product training, you can't let them come home without accountability, right? So again, I train my clients to, the minute there is a training, let's say there's a training with O Cosmetics, they get a letter from me, and the letter from my client that says, congratulations, you're going to the O Cosmetics product training tomorrow. It's great. You're going to love it. Please let me know. Please let me tell you what my expectations are. A, you're going to pay full attention. B, you're going to ask all the questions, right? I want the trainer to ring me and tell me how great you were at asking questions. And C, here are a list of all the products that you're going to be learning and the dates when you and I are going to have a meeting, and we're going to role play.
Yeah, accountability.
Accountability, right?
Accountability.
We all need it. It's not your therapist. We all need accountability. So training is the best use of downtime, right? Then the other thing is what we talked about before, looking for the client gaps. So quickly here, when you try to figure out where our client is, there are 3 points of reference. The client's original prescription, which should never be more than 6 months old, the client's history notes, and the client's previous product and treatment purchases. And you'll say, what retail products on the prescription remain unpurchased? You're going to ring the client and say, okay, Bridget, it's time that we look at this, because we always tell a client, we don't tell her she needs to buy this. We need to tell her why she needs it and why it's the next best product to invest in. What treatment recommendations have been made and not yet invested in? What retail products have been purchased in the past and are due for replacement? Hey, Bridget, just wanted to let you know that by now, if you're using your ABC serum correctly, you will be running out very, very soon. I know it's really hard with the bottle because nowadays the bottles are so good that, you know, to keep them fresh, that you can't see when you run out until you take that last drop.
The last pump.
Right. So I want to make sure that you've got your replacement before that actually happens. And we all know the products run out every 3 months, right? So we're going to capture that as well. We're going to make sure that clients don't run out. And then, of course, what promotions or product packs are currently available and relevant to the client at this point in time. So if there is, you know, your skincare range has a product pack going of the vitamin A serum and eye cream, I'm making that up, and the product that the client actually needs to be investing next is the eye cream. Hey, Bridget, just wanted to let you know we've just received a pack from blah, blah, blah. And your next product, the one that we talked about that you need to go to, is the eye cream. And you're not going to believe it. This pack has the eye cream and vitamin A, especially the one that you need. Now, I know you bought your vitamin A 2 months ago, but you will be running out very soon. And you're going to save $85. Personal and relevant. Everybody knows me. They know that every conversation has to be personal and relevant, right? When you're personal and relevant, people buy, right? So you've got to go. I'm happy to give you all of this, by the way. Everybody has got to do the work that's attached to results. We don't sell. We provide clients with results. Right. And then if you really want, you know, the last option is going to be if you want a promotion, I talked about it before, the best promotion is always to recall somebody, attach like a results-driven treatment, like if you've got a peel or an enzyme treatment that a client sees an immediate result. I love attaching an LED because there's great value. Of course, the skin consultation, package it nicely for a really good price, right? And you can say that they just pay for this and they'll get added value instead of discounting. I don't care what a client pays for that one treatment if it means they're going to come back. Exactly. Right? So it's not what that first treatment costs. It's the value of that client over 12 months, you know, 2 years, whatever. And so that's really important. So my message, you know, when people are coming to me because there's problems, and they say, Bridget, I need your help. I need you to help me get some new clients. I said, I am not going to help you get new clients until I teach you how to retain them. right?
The key.
Teach you how to retain them, because new clients is really easy to do. Like getting new clients, believe it or not, is so easy, especially with social media now. Not just organic, but you can pay $100 and bring in a whole lot of new clients with Facebook ads or Instagram ads. So that's the least of your worries, by the way. But we want to bring them in, and we don't make a heap of money in that first appointment. It's the rest of the time. So the retention is what you've got to work for.
So you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry every day when you open your books, right? But Brigitte,
Absolutely.
there was so much gold in that material. I'm going to ask you only one question because I could ask you 1,000, but we're almost coming up to an hour. That was amazing. There's two things I want to ask. The first one is, there's always a question around the prescription. So you write this diagnosis, prescription, everything is captured. And that client that says, oh, can I just take that with me? What's your answer to that?
Oh, the thing is, I am going to give it to her, but I don't write that it's the O Cosmetics vitamin A. I just write vitamin A.
Right.
So we need them to know, because how I teach in my program, how I teach people to write the business side of the prescription is you write everything they need, and in 3 different highlighter colors. Each color represents the stage that you want them to invest in. So let's say pink is what I want you to go home with today. Right? This is what I'd like for you to go home with today. After that, in our next appointment, we're going to go with yellow, and the next one is green. So we need them to go home with the skin prescription. But we're not going to be specific about it at all, because what they don't need even the O Cosmetics vitamin A. They need vitamin A. That's all they need to know.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about, sorry, and I say this respectfully, we don't want them to care about the brand, because we want them to come back to us, right? We don't want them to go shopping, to do a shopping list, create a shopping list for them for the internet. But you know something, here's the most important thing I want people to get. If you've done that great job and you've sold your trust, the client doesn't want to go to the internet, right? She's so impressed by you. She's been so unimpressed in everything else she's done, including the internet, that she is going to trust you, and she is going to believe you, and she will come back, right?
Brigitte Benge, we are so impressed by you. Like, you are absolutely amazing. I've heard you speak for years and years and years, and the thing that stands out the most is that your story doesn't change. You are the pillars of a successful business are in your messaging, and it's just the clinics, the clinic owners, and even if you're a therapist listening, just be the best therapist. How can you be the best therapist? So Brigitte, if somebody wants to talk to you and wants to go into next level understanding on how they are a therapist that produces $300 an hour, or a clinic owner that can have therapists that produce $300 an hour, where do they find you?
Okay, so if you can go to my website, but let me share a screen to you, because I am just about to start on April the 17th, desktop 1, High Performance Therapist Academy, which is that one program that I do. So on April 17th, we start, and the High Performance Therapist Academy is where I train your therapist directly, right? It's all online. There are videos for them to watch in between my live coaching sessions every week. And I also coach the owners on holding them accountable. That's the most important part. So the address of that is creamsolutions.co/HPTA 2024, right? So HPTA 2024 on my website, and you'll be able to hit a tab that's the High Performance Therapist Academy, and it's coming up very soon. So
and Brigitte, I didn't even know about this. I'm so glad that you've got something coming up, which is really exciting. But now I'm going to hit you up, and if they're an ABIC member, can they tell you they're an ABIC member and you'll do something a little bit special for them?
Yeah, I will. So
that was so cheeky, Maria Cocciolone.
And that's fine, because I'm all, first of all, they need to know there is a 14-day money back guarantee. If you say, I'm not into this, don't even tell me why. I'm quite happy to give you money, but I will tell you that in 12 years, not one person's asked, right?
I can believe that, Brigitte. I can believe that.
Brigitte, this is rubbish, I'm out. But it's there for you. I've got no problem. The cost now made it even more affordable. It used to be $9.97 for a salon of less than 4, and $12.97 for more. But now I've decided to do $297 plus $197 per therapist.
Oh, perfect.
per therapist. So for the smaller salons, you don't have to pay the big money.
Oh God, that's less than the $300 an hour that they're making. Come on.
And let me
That's
tell you,
incredible.
so many therapists within 3 months are doubling their productivity. So I will give all ABIC members, I'd have to send you the coupon for it, so I haven't prepared that, obviously. I'll give you $100 off. So instead of $297 plus $197, it'll be $197 plus $197.
Oh, Brigitte, you're
right?
amazing.
So
We can't thank you enough, Brigitte. I know that we've got overstepped our time, but like I said, we could do this over and over and over again. And I just hope that our ABIC members, 2 things. One, that you really listen to the recording, take notes, and start to implement things, because there is no reason that anybody's doing like twiddling their thumbs and doing nothing, because you've given them so many ideas of what to do. And 2, that the ABIC, you know, we are here. Like, it's not just an association that talks about being here for our members and being here for the community. There's a lot going on in this industry at the moment. Our cosmetic and medical aesthetics nurses, and they're going through a really hard time at the moment. So everybody needs to know that they are not alone. We'll continue to do these lives at 12 o'clock and help as many people as we can. But I say this all the time, if we don't know that you have a need or you have a problem or things are really, really tough for you, we can't help you. So reach out, and being a clinic member is like next level support, that you're never on your own and you're never struggling. Brigitte Benge, thank you for being here today. Good luck with your journey. I know that if anyone's got this, it's you. You're incredible. And thank you for supporting the ABIC community. We're incredibly grateful. Mwah! Big love to you.
I'll speak
Thank
to
you, darling.
soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.